Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new spoiler review of the HBO original series Lovecraft Country. Episode 8 debuted last night on HBO and streamed on HBO Max. I'm here to talk about all of the show in spoiler fashion right now. So before we get into this spoiler review, before I start, also please hit that like button. That's the best way to support the channel. I would greatly appreciate you guys hitting that like button. Please also comment down below in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts of this episode. What were your favorite parts of the episode? Did you love this episode? Is this your favorite episode or least favorite episode of Lovecraft Country? Let me know in the comment section down below. And also leave me your predictions without spoiling the book of the final 2 episodes of the show heading into the next couple of weeks. Also, if you like TV show reviews like this, please check out my other reviews on this channel by hitting that subscribe button, ring that bell for notifications on more upcoming TV show reviews, movie reviews, streaming platform reviews, movie rankings, and YouTube live streams. That's the best way to support this channel. So I was really pumped for this episode this week. Last week was kind of a step back. Didn't love the episode. I thought it was a really good episode of Lovecraft Country, but bottom tier for me, which is not a bad thing. This show is really one of my favorite shows, if not my favorite of the year so far. So it's really doing a great job. And now this is my favorite episode of the show so far. A lot was going on, which I thought could have been an issue because they were trying to bounce back and forth with Tick and Letty's character. Gia joins the fray this episode. She's back. Monterose and Tick have to do something. Ruby and Christina. There was a lot going on in this episode of Lovecraft Country, but I loved every second of it. This was the most exciting, the most horror that we've gotten out of the show so far. And not just horror in the fact that it's like, there's jump scares, there's creatures chasing after them, but the fact that they bring up the death of Emmett Till. Now, obviously, I didn't think this was coming. Now, I've heard rumors that this was actually true. So Diana, she really takes center stage for this episode. She is the daughter of Hippolyta and George, who George, as we know in episode 2, died in the mansion, and Hippolyta, as I guess we're told by Tick, has disappeared since going into that portal. She has not come back. And now she found out that her best friend, who we knew was Emmett, was actually the Emmett Till. So if you just know anything about American history in the past 100 years, basically, this death is one of the most horrific deaths in American history. Not just American, it's really African-American history as well. 14-year-old boy getting the most vicious deaths you can ever think of for a 14-year-old boy. And he died by the hands of white people very viciously. And we find out that Diana's best friend was Emmett Till. And we start this episode like, where are we going? What funeral is this? And we learned that it was the funeral for Emmett Till. And everyone wanted to see the body. And if you just look up Emmett Till, you should definitely do some research because it's a very important character in modern history. And they really rock you hard right away. She is rocked. Her dad is dead. Her mom has disappeared, and she has no idea when her mom's, even if she's coming back or if she's dead or not. And now her best friend, Emmett Till, died. So she is going through a lot this episode. And let's start with her because this is really her episode. We then move into her. She's just in a whole mood. She's yelling at these 2 kids getting ice cream for no reason. And you can feel her anger because there's a lot going on that she doesn't know. And she doesn't know why this stuff is happening. Then she goes and she finds our head cop here who definitely knows magic and basically curses her this episode. She just, does a spit thing on her. And she has 2 crazy people from this book, I forgot what the book was called, chasing after her the whole episode. And it's very horrifying for her and for the audience as well watching this because there's a couple good jump scares this episode. You don't want them to touch her at all. And obviously this ending of the episode and what they're setting up is that she's been cursed, obviously. And she might be out now for the rest of the show. We'll see how they react to her. She's escaping. She left the funeral without telling anyone. She's being very solo this episode, and it's going to be cool to see where they go with her character for the rest of the show. Good character, great horrific stuff going on this episode. Just really, really enjoyed that. Now you move to Tick and Letty. So Tick this episode has, again, also a lot going on. First of all, by the way, we didn't know where he went. We know where Hippolyta went last episode in that portal. We didn't know where Tick went, and we learned that Tick actually went to the future, and he already knows that Letty's pregnant right now, and they have a kid named George Freeman, and that's who wrote the book Lovecraft Country, which is a really great twist in this episode. But the fact that Gia came back, and when Letty walked in and I saw Gia, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be the most awkward scene. It was the most awkward scene, but I loved every second of it. The meeting between Tick, Letty, and Gia was fantastic. And Gia doesn't have any answers for Tick. She's just telling him the same stuff that she told him a long time ago, that he's gonna die. And he's like, why are you here if you're not gonna give me any answers? And then Letty gets pissed off. It's like, because she loves you. And that was the true fact. And that was truly heartbreaking for a lot of characters here. And then Letty goes off. She's really pissed off because of all of this. So then but she really just loved Tick in general. And then she goes to the church, starts praying, and then Christina comes and makes her basically invulnerable. She is basically immortal, basically, at this point. And we saw that in the end of the episode, deflecting bullets off her hair. Huge moment in the show. And then we learned that Christina taught Tick this spell, and we learned that worked also at the end of the episode with that creature back from the first episode, basically his defender at the end of the episode. Brilliant stuff, and a horrific action scene at the end of the episode. And by the way, him and Monrose, Michael K. Williams and Jonathan Majors, on a whole other level this episode. They really did feel like a father and son this episode, more than any other episode we've gone so far of Lovecraft Country. The way he's talking, like, did you ever cheat on his mom? Because he now knows that Monrose was gay, and all that type of stuff. And it really works. Just what it was like to be a gay man way back in the day, and how Jonathan Majors really understands what his dad went through. Then they try to do the spell, and they think it doesn't work. And then when Jonathan Majors tries to save Letty, it worked. And it was a great reveal at the end of the episode. Then Monrose obviously went to Deanna after, at the end of the episode, to try to console her, but obviously it doesn't look like that worked out. Ruby also has a lot more going on this episode as well. We have the most violent sex scene I think I've ever seen, really, between her and Christina. And it wasn't really Christina, it was the guy. So really violent, of basically mid having sex, her changing into Ruby again. Weird. But she has a really powerful scene again with Christina saying, do you even care what happened to Emmett Till? Do you care like what it's like to be a black woman, that type of stuff? And then Christina, it's an amazing back and forth dialogue scene between two characters. And you were kind of questioning, does actually Ruby even care about Emmett Till and that type of stuff? Like, it really does hit you hard. And the fact that Christina, to feel how Ruby feels, because she knows she's immortal, goes through what Emmett Till goes through. And obviously she stays alive, but it just shows you how violent of a death Emmett Till had right in front of your face, basically. Crazy stuff. This, by far, guys, was my favorite episode of the show so far. I can't believe there are only 2 episodes left. They did so much this episode. I'm loving everything. Gia, in my opinion, is so far from done for being a part of this episode. I actually thought she would save him at the end of this episode, but that didn't happen. She only popped in for that one scene. But we know that she is not done yet in this season. I would be really disappointed if she is, but I doubt that she will be. What a great character she is, and I can't wait to see her bounce back in these next 2 episodes. And I just want to hear more talk about Letty being pregnant and Tick letting her know that he saw the future, this, that, and that. And I'm just really excited to see at the end of this season. And also, I don't know if this is a mini series, 10 episodes, or we're going to get a season 2. Nothing has been announced if this is the only season we're getting of this show, or the next one. But this is also the first directed episode by Misha Green, who is the creator of the show, and she also did a great job with direction. It felt like the most horrific episode of the show so far in the sense of the horror genre. And there were some real things at stake, not just horror, as I said earlier, of the stereotypical horror movie shows, but also the death of Emmett Till rocking each of the characters and really being so depressing for just all African Americans at the time. So again, a really powerful episode of Lovecraft Country, my favorite episode of the show so far. Before I go, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe, share, comment, do all those things, ring the bell for notifications for more videos. We have 2 more weeks of this show. So next Monday and the following Monday, we'll be doing, once again, episode 9 and 10 spoiler reviews of this show. If you're joining me for the very first time, thank you. And you can also check out the first 7 episodes. I do a spoiler review for each of the first 7 episodes as well. You can check those out. Next, my head, so you can pop out all the playlist of my TV show reviews. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next one.